Hello. In this video, we will be reviewing the Import Job Order Batch Utility add-on, which, if installed, will be available from the Job Order menu under the Import Job Order Batch menu button. When running the utility for the first time, the source file and mapping file will be blank. However, do note that after running the utility, these values will be remembered, so they will only need to be filled in as they change. The source file is the file that you're going to be using to specify what information that you'd like to import into the system. This can either be typed directly into the source file field, or you can click on the Load from File button to load it from a folder. For this video, I'm going to be using the sample Excel file. After specifying the source file, the next step would be to click on Preview Import Data. This will show you all of the data that the system successfully read from the source file. You'd like to make sure that the source file is being read correctly and that the column names are what you're expecting. This is what our sample Excel file looks like when opened directly. We can compare this with the data that is shown when we're previewing within the Job Order Import Batch utility. Once you have confirmed that the data is correct, we can move on to the next step, which is the mapping file. The mapping file specifies how the data will be imported from the source file into the destination table. You can either select an existing mapping file if you already have one, or if you do not have one, you can specify any file name and the system will automatically generate that mapping file. So in this case, I am going to create a brand new mapping file, and I'm going to put it into the same folder as the source file. Once the mapping file has been specified, the next step would be to configure the file. This is something that you'd normally only have to do the first time that you're running the Import Job Order Batch utility. However, it will also need to be done again if the format of the source file changes. For example, columns are added or removed. To do this, we will click on the Configure button. This screen provides a list of columns in the source file, and then we will specify which fields in the destination file that data should import into. You can click on the Auto Assign button, which will automatically assign any fields that have the same name as the source column. For any other fields, we will have to manually specify the destination. It can be helpful during this process to have Metfin open so that you can right-click the field that you intend to import data into to find the field name. Once all the fields have been assigned, then you can click on Save to commit the changes. After the mapping file has been configured, we are ready to import the batch. Now note that the utility does provide you the option of specifying the date received for the job orders that will be created. In this case, we don't need to specify that because the value is being imported from the source file. If the value was not being imported into the source file, it would default to today's date. However, a different date can be specified if needed. So we can go ahead and click on Process Batch. Okay, so after the batch has been processed, it is giving us the option to print out the job orders that were created. Job orders that are created are added to the print batch, so we can print all of them by clicking on the Print Batch button. However, right now, I just want to focus on the status messages from the import. So here we can see that of our 5 records that we were trying to import, only 2 were added successfully. One failed because the part number was non-unique, so the system was not able to determine which part should be used. In another case, the part that was specified in the source file is marked as inactive, so the system did not allow a job to be created for that part. This part was created successfully, and then the next part was not created because the part is not found in the quote file. So the system is not allowing a job for an unknown part. And then the last part was created successfully. So of the 5, only 2 were created. This gives you an idea of how the utility validates the information that is trying to be created. In addition to the standard validation that is being performed, the utility will also prevent you from creating duplicate jobs. So for example, if I try to process this batch a second time, you will see that for the parts that successfully created previously is now reporting an error that the job order was imported previously. This time, 0 records were added, and I was not prompted to print any job orders because no job orders were created successfully. It is possible to view the history of the import job order batch utility by going to the job order reports menu and selecting the job order import log report. This report is mainly driven by the import date, but it also allows you to filter by part number or lot number optionally. By default, the report will only show failed imports, that is, imports that had an error that prevented a job order from being created. However, you can optionally show all imports. Here is a preview of the report, which includes all entries, not just the entries with errors. You'll note that the report is sorted by part number rather than by batch attempt, so that you can easily find the part on the list when you go to review. That concludes the video regarding the import job order batch utility. Thank you.